After you. Thanks for picking the bench, Liz.
Thank you, Robin.
This is quite something because we're both not in our home cities, but we're here in Marrakech, of all places, on a bench next to the Water Museum because we are part of the International Conference of Urban Health, free promo. And we started talking, and we're like, hey, that would be nice just to have a more extensive real podcast episode than just the quick bite-sized 10 minutes interviews that I'm doing all day. So thanks, Liz, for having the opportunity and taking the time to sit next to me. Just tell people who are listening and watching about who's Liz and where you're from and what is it you do.
Sounds good. Thank you, Robin. So, thank you for the opportunity. I think I was able to do a little bit of research on you and value the work that you're doing. So, where I'm from New York. I am a pathologist assistant. I have recently transitioned within the last couple of years into the academic space
Okay.
of the field.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Having a good time so far?
so far so good. Yes, definitely.
What brought you to Morocco?
So I'm here accompanying my partner. He's into public health,
Okay.
global public health. He's studying. He's doing his doctorate currently, and so
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to come along. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And if I may, are you from New York? Have you where did you grow up? Like, tell us a bit more about your life in New York.
Okay, so I am from New York. So New York, the state, right? So
You tell us where.
so I was born in the Bronx,
Okay.
and so one of the boroughs of New York City, one of the 5 boroughs. And then when I was about 8, we moved up to Albany, the capital.
All right.
So, and so grew up in Albany, and then from there, um, ventured off to Connecticut for college.
Okay.
And then Philadelphia for graduate school. And then after grad school, ended up right back in New York City.
You knew New
yeah.
York was that destination.
Yeah, and it was where the jobs were, so
Okay.
it was just where it was. Considering the profession is, it's still up and coming, really, in a sense. So there weren't many opportunities
Okay.
in other parts of the state. So
You had to go to New York.
had to go back.
Okay.
Had to go back. I'm glad to be back.
Why is that? Tell us.
Well, it's the city itself. Well, obviously there's so much great people watching, and you're able to you're able to be a tourist, in your hometown. Essentially, there's so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I really value
New York.
every little bit of what the city has to offer, the good and the bad, to be honest. Yeah. I know it has a bad rep, but I resonate with the toughness, with the rawness of the city.
Because you're saying you're from the Bronx.
I'm from the Bronx. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where it started.
I feel very true to the Bronx still. Yeah.
Because that's what the association with people have, right? With the Bronx.
Yeah.
Harlem, Bronx.
Yeah.
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 And that's true.
It is. It is. Yeah, it is.
The tough cookies are made there.
They are. That's where they're created. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So walking down to Marrakech is like,
No, it's nothing.
Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Especially, and even so, the metro and all. I mean, the metro, we had a layover in Lisbon. So the metro, I mean, you do New York City, think you can pretty much do anything.
Hmm. Do you currently live in the Bronx again?
No, I live in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I live in New Jersey. I commute into the city, Manhattan, for work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Um, is it when growing up? I mean, it's only been your first 8 years growing up in the Bronx. Is it then also something that already shaped you that much in life?
Yes, I
Pretty
think
much.
so. I think so. My parents, they immigrated from Dominican Republic, so they met in the Bronx, even though they're both Dominican.
All right.
Um, and so they met there, and then they had my sister and I, and just very humble, simple beginnings. And we were able to, I have clear memories of, living in a one, all of us living, let's say, in a one bedroom, um, in a one bedroom apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and just the come up, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then the opportunity to go to Albany and how that changed our lives.
Yeah.
And for the better, really, and the trajectory. And so my father, he actually also sometimes, even, we have love for the Bronx always, but he kind of wonders, what opportunities may or may not have been available if we didn't leave the Bronx when we did.
For better or for worse.
For all of us.
Hmm.
Yeah, for all of us. My mother, my father, and my sister and I.
Does he think he's made the right calls?
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah.
And can I ask, how has that shaped you, as in, like what, as in relation to studying, working, creating your own life?
The growing up,
Yeah, making these choices that you feel that you're conscious about taking also these steps in life, in, I don't know, wealth and how
self-sufficiency,
self-sufficiency,
sustainability. Yep.
security.
Yes, definitely. No problem. I I think now that I'm, settled into my career, and feel that I am, feel I have options, right? And I'm not necessarily chasing the next challenge, let's say,
Hmm.
which you may feel in the beginning, right, where you just are trying to kind of maximize your potential.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a point where I'm kind of slowing down, and slowing down in kind of all aspects, including professionally.
Hmm.
But taking, being more conscious of what I'm doing, for what I'm leaving, and kind of legacy I'm choosing to leave,
Mm-hmm.
uh, for, and really being inspired by my parents and what they've done and continue to do.
Mm.
And okay, what is my mark going to be with the foundation that they've laid?
Mm.
Where, so that was actually probably, and I think there's a lot of, first generation children who can
Yeah.
relate, where you see your parents kind of establish such financial security within like one generation, right? Within
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
existing generation, and so it can be kind of
As
daunting.
as an immigrant.
Yeah, as an immigrant, it can be kind of daunting in terms of, okay, well, wow, they were able to do all that. What am I going to do? Let's say. And yeah, well, went to school, did what I was supposed to do. You also feel like, okay, is that enough? What else can I do? So I'm having.
Did you feel that
this
yourself? Was that an expectation?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Oh, yeah. There's just a sense of pressure that you feel to harness and seize the opportunity, and the foundation that's been laid for you to succeed. Because,
It
kind
almost
of.
feels like a responsibility.
Yes,
Yeah.
oh, definitely. Because, excuses, whether it be financial, have been, or whatever it may have been kind of eliminated. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even also just having the opportunity to, I think the opportunity and the privilege to really work in my chosen field, which is not something that my parents had, parents or, grandparents and so on, had the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They had, found good employment and were able to make it work with what they found. but it wasn't necessarily what they, let's say, dreamt of doing.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but they made it work. So now that I'm in my chosen profession, chosen field, it's like, okay, what else can I do now that I'm here? Right? What's my imprint?
Does that also get motivation by like a conference like this, seeing all these people doing their thing?
Definitely.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. I've been really grateful to be able to attend these public health conferences, because it's just inspiring to see. We all are very much aware of the changes and needs in our individual communities, and then seeing these, heroes kind of working behind the scenes, and then they all coming,
Yeah.
collaborating and bringing their projects and their ideas forth.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing. It's like, wow, there actually are people who are dedicating their time, their energy to strategize and to make lasting change and impact in their communities. So,
Mm-hmm.
and even the specific focus of this conference with climate health,
Yeah.
and the influence that's going to have, and the impact that's going to have, the implications in the future generations, and
Yeah.
how they're working to empower the youth.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Is that a topic you want to focus on or work on? Youth?
Youth? Oh, definitely. Well, right now, I'm, so I just mentioned earlier, I was able to kind of transition into like the academic space.
Yeah.
So I'm working for a pathologist assistant program.
Mm.
And so I'm able to help train essentially the next generation of pathologist assistants,
Okay.
which I think is a real privilege
Yeah.
to be able to offer, my insights and inspire them to, not only be good but be great and continue to, reach their potentials.
Mm-hmm.
So, there, I think I would want to maybe in the future, because even kind of transitioning into this area, the academic space within the profession, was something that I was not necessarily planning for.
Mhm.
It kind of was an opportunity that presented itself, but the idea, the seed, was planted like probably within the first few weeks of me working, professionally, within my first job. I had the opportunity to teach the pathology residents at the time, and I was like, wow, this is really, really great. If I can find a way to do this in the future, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I would like to be able to do that. So
Teach.
10 years later, I was able to do that. So now it's like, okay, so now it's kind of just opened up a whole new kind of,
And this is quite recent?
it's just raised last 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, last 2 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's been able to open up a whole another little box of possibilities.
It just came.
It just came. It just
The
came.
box just came.
It just arrived. I was able to.
Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were saying also like, we talked about a good place and so on. Like, yeah, I'm in a good place, and you said it with such a firm, statement. I'm like, okay. Wish it was for me the reason. Okay, let's have a chat about it.
Yeah. Let's do it. So the concept. Okay, so this is part of what we had discussed earlier, right? The concept of being in a good place is relative, right, to your experiences and so on, and it can be a moving target, really. I was able to, I think, so confidently say that to you because I can recognize that. I think there's a lot of focus, and I'm not sure, I feel maybe internationally I can, be bold enough to say that focus on, and psychologically, there's evidence in the fact of like you feel needs that have to be met for you to be fulfilled, right, or feel fulfilled. Whether it's romantic, having a partner,
Yeah.
a reliable partner, your health, shelter, and then let's say having some inspirational. Well, no, having income. Let's say one sustainable income, one, and then if it's co- if it's contributing some source of inspiration or happiness, then that's an added bonus. So, I
So sustainable income, number one.
yeah,
Okay.
Well, no, that's not number one for me.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But
What's your number one?
my number one probably would be just sustainable partnership. To be honest. Yeah. That would be it.
Sustainable romantic partnership.
Sustainable romantic partnership and sustainable, intimate friendships, I guess.
Yeah.
Close friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely my number one. Because that's a fountain that you can consistently, and regularly be, serve as a source of inspiration, and endless conversation and depth. If you're around if you find the right people.
People have talked in previous podcasts described it as the support network.
Yes. And it takes time to create it for yourself. Friendships are, they have, friendships have purpose, relationships have purpose, and I don't think maybe that it becomes very relevant until a particular age for everyone. It's relative. The purpose of friendship, I think, changes as you age.
Yeah.
And then the way in which you have to invest into those relationships, into those romantic those romantic relationships and friendships to sustain them and maintain that support network also changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back.
2?
So wait, what's number 2 now?
Yeah, I don't know.
So then number 2 would definitely be like what am I doing for income, livelihood?
Yeah.
And that I feel very privileged to be able to have found my chosen field and be able to work in it.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be number 2.
I hope the mic is a bit closer.
Oh, sure.
Because of this one.
Oh, yes.
We could go on to number 3, or you just keep on explaining
Good place?
why you're in a good place.
All right, let's keep explaining why I'm in a good place. So there's multiple reasons. So I think going back to the point, the point of the conversation, which was that there are multiple needs that have been met, right, to a satisfactory or more than satisfactory degree. So professionally, going back to the partnership, the connections, the friendships, and then the jobs, and sustainable, inspiring livelihood. So those have been met for me currently, right? I'm in a good place considering those have been met. So I feel that I have strong, good friendships. I have a great partner, romantic partner, and I am in a place at work and where in my career where I feel inspired. I feel anew, even though I've been in it for a little bit, and things can get stagnant, just like in any profession. Been able to find an opportunity to kind of shake it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a maybe odd question to ask.
Yeah.
Are these boxes to be ticked, or are these just things that you've learned over time?
I think there are things that I've learned. I used to actually be a box checker, ticker. I think in this whole drive to fulfill my purpose, let's say, or maximize the potential that my parents have allowed, I was very much just kind of goal oriented. And still am, yes, but there was the train was just moving at a very high, at a very fast rate, and so I I think I just there was a lot of I just felt the pressure, even though I think it was it was direct and indirect, right? It's just how you read into things, yes, but sometimes things are kind of explicitly said also. But so yeah, I used to be, I would say, like in my 20s. Um, I was just gotta make it work, gotta make it happen, and didn't really necessarily take too much time to reflect on what I was. It was just do. So I think first foremost was the profession. I had my friendships, but so and that's the thing. Right now the relationships, and so the relationships are number one. The livelihood is number two, right, in terms of priority. Previously, really livelihood was number one for a long time,
Yeah.
and finding finding my place in that, and what um, and ensuring that I was kind of maximizing this privilege that I was given my to find my job,
Yeah.
to find my space, and I was able to do that, and it was pretty, I would say untraditional route, um, and so I was able to focus on that for a while. That paid off. What I think I've learned and appreciated is the fact that, and I think I spent way too much time, I would say probably in my 20s and so on, just um, is that time does not go in vain, right? Effort, energy does not really go in vain. There's also oftentimes you can feel like you can say or feel like you've wasted energy or time on a particular project, person, relationship,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But everything is what I've learned to appreciate and value is the fact that really everything does have value, does have worth. Every experience,
Yeah.
every opportunity, there's you're able to really extract something from it.
Yeah.
You may not necessarily appreciate. You may not necessarily
It's also part of the podcast.
appreciate. Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep it real. Um, you may not necessarily appreciate uh, what the lesson is in the
Yeah,
moment.
it's nicely
Oh,
said.
oh, definitely in the moment or years later. There was this. I always reference this course on So I had my in undergraduate. I was studying criminal justice and psychology, and there was this like high level consciousness course. Oh my goodness, that course. It was just very discussion based. We spent a lot of time discussing what consciousness was, what was conscious within our environment, the animals, the trees, so on. And I didn't really see the point in the course. I didn't get it at all at the time. I went through it. We got
What
it.
am I doing here?
Yeah, it's like, why are we still talking about this? And and I ended up getting an A. Fulfilling whatever requirements were needed to do that, and participating. But now, what? 15? It probably did not hit me until maybe like 15 years later, like the point of it, and it was really just to just stretch just stretch our understanding of the world, around us.
Yeah.
That was literally all it was. But in the moment, it didn't feel very practical
No.
or useful.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Trust the process.
you trust the process for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. I
This
think
is
that's also that's also we get into now, but like an area that for me
sure.
is more like when people how people approach like failure or these kind of things that yeah everything that you do if it's a success or not will be a learning right in some ways and
Definitely. And
mm,
and so right now to say why to add to and extend on why I'm in a good place is because I've think previously have maybe using analogy of like running, maybe running was previously maybe sprinting to
yeah
check these boxes off,
yeah
right? And now, let's say I had some maybe negative or unfavorable experiences, right? Or what I wasn't expecting in the process
hmm
of checking off these boxes, and realize and have I think maybe the hard way as have learned to appreciate the not only the process but patience with the process.
yeah
Patience with the process, and kind of shifting gears to just kind of slowing down and you know like letting my shoulders down, and
yeah yeah
and just kind of physically, not only mentally and physically, kind of just slowing down too, because
put your guard down
put my guard down because I think I've done it. I'm good. I think I for the longest was just maybe just chasing,
yeah
chasing to fulfill these or to check these boxes
yeah
and meet whatever expectations you think you need to meet um, by societal, family pressures, so on. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm in a good place.
yeah good but it also has to do with especially when you talk about expectations it also comes down to um, trust and confidence right
Yep.
through yourself through others around you they notice you're in a good place they might leave you alone or not but mostly when they think you're in a good place they're like okay we don't need to worry too much about
Yeah.
you're doing good I mean everything's going well
Yep.
so there's also like less confrontation perhaps as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
I just wonder if I'm still chasing. I'm always feel like I'm chasing things still.
I mean, the chase is the pursuit, right? The pursuit of happiness. While we're here, right, you have to make it worthwhile, no?
Yeah.
So,
In life, or you mean here in Marrakech?
yeah, when Marrakech, in life, or wherever,
Yeah.
at any given moment,
Mm.
there's, but there's, I mean, there's value, there's plenty of value in just being patient with the process. Uh, because you may and I think timing is huge, right? And you kind of mentioned timing, right? And the confidence that you gain as a result of going through um, different experiences that do not, let's say, serve you, and then um, you come to a point that you feel that you are able to kind of sit back and reflect, and on the choices, let's say, you've made, or the opportunities you've had, and you're able to appreciate the value in all of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Timing is huge because you can be chasing, checking up the box for the romantic partner, for the job, so on, and 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 that's the thing. It's like it's two points that need to meet at the same moment in time in order for it to
Especially for
work.
those things.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, let's say you have, there's plenty of movies and so on that have been written about this, and shows in terms of the power of timing, but it's so real and true. Uh, I don't think I would have been able to, I think, appreciate um, the value of the relationships that I have now as much, pre- just because I think I was so distracted,
Yeah.
checking boxes and so on,
Yeah. Or
So,
chasing.
and chasing.
Doesn't have to be boxes, but yeah,
Yeah, just chasing enough, right?
Yeah.
Chasing enough, and what does that look like to you? And then making it for you, right?
Yeah.
For you and not for anyone else, right? And so going through the transitions of that and what that means, and being okay with not with letting go of whatever expectations there are. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you turn into something, more like a comfortable position, and then you just hope it stays that way.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will. think I'm much more relaxed now, ooh, definitely, than I was previously. Previously meaning even up until, I don't know, like a few years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, right? So,
Something happened on the way.
things do happen. A lot happens. Um, so one thing that I really appreciate about what you're doing with this podcast is that there's the journey, right? In that we all have to this good place. The details of that journey are not necessarily shared, right,
Reflected
or
on.
reflected on and appreciated with, I guess, with the vast audience, right? And
No.
I think that's a missed opportunity, missed connections. As I don't know if you're familiar with Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Sure.
there was like a whole, I don't know if it's still, I'm sure it still does, the missed connections.
Yeah.
And I always found that I never, but I always found it found it fascinating that people, strangers, would, instead of, I mean, I guess the whole point was it was missed, right? You were either commuting, or there was just not that there was no opportunity to connect
Yeah.
with this person
Yeah.
physically in real time, and so you go onto this platform
Yeah.
to like describe the situation and experience
Yeah.
in hopes of them also coming onto this platform to recognize this moment that may or may not have been. So, but I bring that up just to kind of emphasize that I don't know, there's just, I'm very grateful for these kind of platforms where there's just more dialogue as to the process that it really takes, and you have to take and commit to pursue, in the pursuit of your happiness, of your good place,
Yeah.
of your happy place, your good place, because it's hard work, I would say. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work, and it doesn't, this is why they say, oh man, money does not buy happiness and so on. And it's absolutely true, it's a process that you need to go through.
Yeah.
To, and it's relative to your circumstance and your aspirations. And I think is very important, considering to have platforms like this to kind of maybe ground individuals in their pursuits, and just offer some refuge to just to be patient, and consider that they're on their own timeline,
Yeah.
because especially you have it, the platform currently within social media and so on, and social media is it's a positive, but also pretty negative space also.
Absolutely.
So people, negatively, on the negative aspect of it, use it to compare, as we know, compare themselves, status and so on.
Yeah.
And I don't know, conversations like this, details of the journey of the process of the patients, required. I mean, I think they're helpful. They're helpful, but I mean, it's only as helpful as the individual is.
You need to open up to it.
Exactly, be receptive to
Yeah.
it, right? So, yeah,
I mean, that's why I started this podcast. Not only, it's also for me to learn of others, like perspectives,
yeah,
and not just for you to share your story, but also for me to listen. Like, okay, and let me appreciate what I do, or stand more still, or stop chasing, or these kind of things. Same as this podcast offers, hopefully, people a sense of inspiration. That's why I also decided to launch an online program, because there are people that actually need help or
Yep.
support network at the crossing point in life where they at.
yep,
Whether it's changing places, whether it's, I mean, looking for a partner. I mean, we're not helping them to live. No, it's you gotta find your own answers. It's not it's like, hey, here's a partner for you, or here's that new job. No,
you gotta put in the work.
you gotta put in the work.
Yeah,
And when people are stuck and they don't have that support network around them like you do,
stuck. I think that's the title of a good book. I've
but then
Like-
the program hopefully helps people to get unstuck.
often stuck.
Yeah.
No, but I think with that, under that premise that stuck is temporary. The feeling of being stuck is temporary.
Well, if you say a good place is a moving target, yeah, then at one point it's stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And something needs to get it taken out of the way, so it can keep on moving.
Keep it moving, yeah. But and all the while you're just acquiring. Sort of going back to this, no efforts and experiences go in vain, because all the while you're just acquiring tools and sharpening your tools.
Yeah.
And you're acquiring, just strategy and so on to navigate the things that do come along. So I
Yeah.
think for much of, I know I made a lot of reference earlier to like my 20s and so on, developmental years, but all of that, and I've read different takes on this, but all of that really, and it's true. If it's training, is really what it is. It's trial and error. You're just going through the motions. Often for the first time, and with whatever preconceptions you have, and you may make a good decision, you may make a bad decision, and you just have pivot accordingly, learn, move on. Okay, let's keep it going, and yeah, it's so while the good place is a moving target, you do become more resilient in your ability to pivot and come back to that good place and identify and recognize it.
Yeah.
And especially when you do the work, right? And you aren't expecting someone to come and save you from your own life. Unless you have any other mental health and physical abilities that you may need someone to to interject, or need to get support services to interject and help you. But I think we all can benefit from some support.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. A support network. Oh, for sure.
It's both a bridge as a more like an open ending. I'd say is also where we at now at this place. I'm very conscious about it, that looking at our lives of where we now live and raise versus where people live here, for example, in Marrakech.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, completely different. When we talk
different.
about support network or opportunity or equality or all these kind of things that Also makes you appreciative more, like okay, like what are you able to shape yourself versus what you're not able to shape yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna get too much into this topic here because I would love to have that conversation one day on a bench with somebody from here. I think, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's when while I was sitting in the taxi cab, watching outside, I'm like, working on this good place and would offer everyone the opportunity to find and work on their good place. But yeah, sometimes you're just also stuck in the system. Talking about stuck.
And even the Amal, the organ, the food, the catering organization, and how they've had the training for underprivileged women. That's a whole mechanism that's been used to empower women within their community and serve. And there's among the different presenters, they've shared they've shared ideas and projects like that they've created or been part of in their own communities, and what they're looking to do now with greater focus on the youth, right, and how to empower them.
And I think it's also nice to add to this is that if it's not about money, if it's not about that, if it's not about, you always find your good place, that richness in life. In whatever country you live in, continent, whatever, doesn't matter.
Once you've put in the work, to be honest, and I keep going back to that because you can going back to the chasing, right? You're chasing a Instagram image or whatever, or feeling or this or that, but then once you kind of are satiated by those experiences, right, and kind of like, all right, I've been able to appreciate what I needed to appreciate from this particular experience, and I can move on. Once you are able to do that, then like you said, you can kind of pretty much live anywhere and do and be content. And that's content anywhere, to be honest.
Could have been the Bronx all your life.
Could have been it. And I think about this often because my father, he said this, when we moved and had different opportunities in Albany. He was like, oh, well, kind of just thinking back, like I wonder what life and opportunities would have presented, like if we had stayed in the Bronx. And I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
If that doesn't matter, then the whole
exactly.
good place thing could have been everywhere.
Yeah, that's what and I kind of think that also. Like I think all the while we still had the same aspirations, right? So we could have, didn't necessarily need to relocate to find, the good place or a more favorable lifestyle. But I think it's the move, and also doing it as a family, obviously at that early age, really served as a like a point in time that we can just reflect on and serves as a source of inspiration. Of like, okay, well, we did literally moved however many hours away, in a community where we didn't, or in a city where we didn't necessarily know too many people, and were let's say a minority at the time, and we're able to make it work. So you reflect on going back to the tools and sharpening the tools. You kind of just keep using the same tools and strategies in different scenarios as they present. It's all the same. It's what you eventually realize.
Yeah. Thanks, Liz. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. I mean, that's the same thing, Two items just connected.
Seriously, though. Seriously.
And it ended up, we're staying at the same Marriott.
and
We're in
so
the same
organic.
cab.
Yeah, so all these little moments that were, I think, culminating to this because I think I noticed you. Yeah, we're saying at the same Riyadh. I think we noticed you the
rooftop.
first at the
Yeah.
rooftop,
Yeah.
and then they were just kept kind of popping up and kind of. And there's so many people here, no, right? And so just to be able to kind of like be curious
Yeah. Yeah.
about each other, and then finally have the opportunity to
Yeah.
sit and
Yeah.
connect, and then
In Marrakech,
in Marrakech,
of all places.
and then
But we already agreed
yeah, make this
that
happen.
if and whenever I make it to New York, we'll do a
Don't
sequel.
wait so long.
I don't know. It depends on when is the story going to be juicier? 10 years from now, next
Oh, yeah,
month,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
you need to you have to have something to tell.
Well, we didn't go into too many details, to be honest, so the conversation could still be going. But yeah, I definitely can work up something. 10 years, that's good. I think I could work something out.
Let's see.
10 years.
See you in 10 years.
See you in 10 years.
Thanks everyone for listening. You can join us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Please subscribe, like. It would mean the world. And then this story is also going to travel the world more. New York, Marrakech, back home, who knows, wherever you are. Thanks for watching and listening, and talk to you soon. Ciao.